Hello everyone, I am Prepper Princess, the author of Living on Almost Nothing. If you are interested in below, today I want to talk to you about decluttering and minimalism. And as you can tell by my thumbnail photo, I've had to deal with this. I have personal experience in this matter of when people die and they leave a bunch of stuff behind to their children that they think that they're going to want, and the children do not want it. I can tell you that. Okay, so minimalism is pretty much getting rid of the unnecessary and unwanted items in your house. There's also something called Swedish death cleaning, where if you are getting older in age, maybe your health isn't quite what it used to be, a lot of people will go on these extreme cleaning type things to get rid of everything in their house that is non-essential, so that when they do die, their family is not going to have to deal with the horrible fallout of the situation. They just come in, it's pretty much just furniture that they can take over to wherever, one load and done. And then it's over with, and it's not a huge burden on your children. So the thumbnail of this video, it was my mother's garage when she passed away in 2010. And in case you didn't get a good view of it, I will go ahead and insert a picture now. And this was just the garage. Just the garage. So it was a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot house, plus about a 500 square foot garage. So you're looking at 2,000 square feet altogether, approximately. And my mother was never a hoarder. She wasn't a minimalist, but she never had a problem accumulating large amounts of anything with me growing up. When my brother and I moved out, around the age of 20, her health started to decline pretty badly, and it seemed like the more her health declined, the more stuff she accumulated. She wasn't really able to work any longer, and she was on disability. She had stage 4 terminal cancer, along with a million other different things. But her thing, it's like she thought that, so she was doing eBay, and it seemed like every day she was going to garage sales, estate sales, thrift stores, consignment shops, like anywhere she could go, she would be going there. And it's like she didn't go a single day without filling up her pickup truck to the brim. And then she would go home, and for about 3 or 4 years, I would go in there, I would organize it so she had space. She was a big smoker, and she smoked in the garage. So I would move all of her stuff and organize it so that she had a place to sit in the middle, because I didn't want her, if she was going to smoke, I didn't want her smoking outside where it was cold and windy and rainy in the winter in the wintertime. So at least the garage provided some shelter, and it was a little bit warmer, mostly because the dryer was always going. But so I set that up for her, and then I would come back 2 days later, and it would just be completely full again. And she almost made jokes about it, like, thanks for clearing that space for me so I can fill it back up again. And it's like, that's not really funny. You know, I just spent 4 hours of work making it so you would have a place to sit, and 2 days later it would be gone. And after about 2 or 3 years, everybody in the family pretty much gave up. It actually got to the point where she would get angry at us just for touching things. Like, we would go to dust something, just to dust it, because she had a lot of lung condition problems, and we didn't want dust in the house to mess with her lungs. So we would try dusting, and you would have to move something in order to dust another thing, and then move that thing to dust the next thing. And she got so angry about that stuff. And I remember there were only 24-inch pathways to get anywhere. I remember the guest room, the door only opened enough for you to scoot through so that you could get into the bedroom. And then it was just like 3 feet straight to the bed, a twin-size bed in a bedroom. And then the rest of the bedroom was stacked floor to ceiling. The whole thing, the closet wouldn't open, floor to ceiling. All you had was a tiny pathway to the bed. And then she had her eBay room, which was just stacked, floor to ceiling, as you can imagine. She had shelves that were just overstocked with stuff she got at yard sales that she planned on selling on eBay, but she somehow never got around to it because she was too busy shopping for more things. And we were poor growing up, so she knew that she couldn't shop for new items, and she always had the intention of selling these items, but I don't really think she had the intention of selling them knowing how sick she was. So she was always an amazing mother, but in the last few years, she wasn't well. She wasn't well, not only physically, but mentally, spiritually. She was not doing well. Amazing woman. I mean, she brightened a room. She got along with everybody. I mean, she found the best in everybody. She loved animals. Not a great housekeeper growing up. I was always the one keeping house. But other than that, amazing mom. She wanted nothing but the best for us. And when she passed away, I moved into the house, and there was you are going through the worst time in your life. You know, losing my mother was the worst thing that anybody could go through, and I would not wish it on my worst enemy. I would not wish it on Hitler or Dahmer or anyone. I would never wish that on literally what I went through. I would not be able to do it again. I would not make it through a second time. If I had somebody that close in my life that I had to lose again, I would not survive it. I can tell you that. I would not make it. But when you're going through the absolute worst time in your life, and then you go into a mess like that, which took, I believe, 1.5 years to get rid of it, and it was over, I know it was like between 50 and 60 truckloads of stuff that had to go either to the dump or the thrift store. And what the ironic thing is that she got most of those items from garage sales and thrift stores, and when she passed away, they went right back. And all that money, those thousands and thousands of dollars that she put into these items that she had some sort of intention for, whether that be to sell them or keep them or improve renovations in the house, I don't know. But all of that money was completely wasted. I mean, think about it. It was just a big circle. She got it from the thrift store. She brought it home. She died. I took it back to the thrift store. And people say, you should have sold it. I sold as much as I could. I had estate sales and garage sales. Family members came by. I allowed them to take whatever they wanted. Didn't even put a dent in it. And I think I did the calculations of, it was a 3-bed, 2-bath house, but it had enough furniture for a 4-bath houses. Yeah, so 16 rooms worth of furniture, 16 bedrooms worth of furniture. And that doesn't even include like kitchen, couches. The living room, she had the couch in the middle of the living room, which didn't make any sense, but behind the couch was stacked floor to ceiling furniture. So imagine a coffee table and side table under a kitchen table, and on top of the kitchen table you somehow put a couch on top of the kitchen table, and then on top of the couch you stacked chairs and small end tables, stacked floor to ceiling. I can tell you, I didn't want any of it. I kept maybe 3 pieces of furniture that were hers. The rest was history. And a lot of people keep things, they hold on to things because they think that they're worth money, or they think that they're going to pass it on to their children. So, but they don't necessarily want them, but they're worth money, or they might be worth money someday, or I'm going to pass this on to my daughter or my son because it's worth money. I would say, sell the item now and give your kids the money. If that is really what you intend to do, or what you intended to do, I'm going to give them this painting because it's worth money. They don't want it. They're going to sell it. So save them the trouble and sell the painting and give them the money. But more than likely, you're going to keep the money. I'm just saying. And when it comes to your stuff, your trinkets, your knickknacks, your tchotchkes, your old photos of you and your buddies from high school, they don't want them. They don't know who 5 out of 6 of the people in those pictures are. I went through so many pictures, took me hours and hours. The only pictures that I have kept in my picture inventory are pictures that have my mom, my grandma, and my dog. That's it. Every other picture, gone. Well, and my brother. But I don't even want those. I don't want them. I don't care what my brother looked like as a kid. I think of him as now. And we get into this, there is a consumer culture in America that is sickening people. People are becoming mentally ill. It is killing our planet. And it is a vicious, horrible cycle of accumulation. I always had this theory that it went down to something in our DNA. If you go out into the wild and you watch a cheetah, and it will be stalking a herd of gazelles. It'll be stalking them, just watching out in the tall grass, peeking through, looking. And it's there for 45 minutes to an hour. It will attack one that has something wrong with it. It'll attack the one that has a limp or is a little bit slower mentally, or physically, just a tiny bit. Something that you wouldn't even be able to tell right away, but in the animal kingdom, they can see it. And in our DNA, it is our DNA for women to be beautiful and of childbearing age and young and gorgeous. And men have to be providers. They have to have the wealth because, and I'm not talking, this is going back hundreds of thousands of years. The man has to be able to kill something and drag it home into the cave while the woman cooks it and nurtures the children. In order for a man to do that, he feels that he needs to accumulate things based on status, based on looking like they have or they can provide more than the next man. And a woman bases their purchases on beauty products and looking younger and more beautiful and slimmer and slender in childbearing age. And if they can't do that, so if a woman is simply knows that they are not beautiful, simply knows, and don't go all crazy, but this is just an analogy, knows that they are overweight and refuses to become overweight, they will try to present themselves as superior in some way so that they can attract a mate. So if you have somebody who is not athletic or beautiful and never will be, they typically focus on intelligence. They get a really, really big education so that they can look super smart for the opposite sex. And then it's just a big, huge cycle. So that's why women always purchase their hair. They get their hair and nails done. They get purses, fancy, whatever that makeup is, IMAX, the movie theater. I don't know. I get my makeup at the dollar store, and I style my hair with water. Okay. But it is a terrible culture that is based on fear of loneliness. And here in America, that is somehow turned into a consumer culture that is mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually detrimental to the population. If you can't pay your bills, but you have all this stuff, you got nothing. You've got nothing. You are not making yourself more beautiful or more handsome to the opposite or same sex, whatever you're into. You are not making things better for yourself. Look at the mental illness that is going on in our country. I swear it is getting horrible. I'm afraid to talk to anybody these days. It's getting that bad. And I think that a lot of that has to do with, it's just all fear. It starts out with fear, then they get on the drugs and alcohol, and it's a horrible, horrible cycle. And every generation says that the next generation is doing so much worse than them, and they don't know what hard work is. And I'm getting older. I'm getting wiser. And in my old age, I'm seeing that the next generation is totally screwed. Maybe Jesus is coming back soon, not to get too spiritual on you or religious on you, but like it seems like it's the end of days here pretty much. Like it really does. And you know, funny side fact. When I was in my 20s, my early 20s, like 22, 23, I was working 2 jobs. One of them was a cashier at Home Depot. Worst job I've ever had. I'll never cashier again. But I would work at Home Depot again, just not as a cashier. But early 20s, I had 55 and 60-year-old men hitting on me every day. That's disgusting. 35 to 40-year difference. I'm not exaggerating either. I had a guy who was like 56, and he's like, what's a pretty girl like you doing it, working at Home Depot? And I said, well, nobody's going to pay my bills. I have to pay off my debt. And he goes, I will. I was like, ew, gross. Nasty. And now that I'm 41, I think I'm 41. I'm somewhere between 40 and 42. So let's say 41. Now that I'm 41, I get hit on by 65-year-olds. 40-year-olds simply are not interested in those of their own age. And I don't think that they realize that I'm gay either. But when I tell them I'm gay, they think it's an excuse. It's not. But that's just a really weird side fact. Let me know if you guys have the same issue. Like you only get hit. I've only had, no, I've never had a male hit on me the same age as me. Never in my life. Not once. Ever. All right, folks. That was random and unnecessary, but I want you guys to take a second and rethink some of the things. Like, you know, can you, instead of completely renovating your entire kitchen, can you maybe fix it up with some paint instead, or maybe some new drawer pulls? You know, instead of going out and buying new side tables, can you maybe paint the ones that you have, paint them and get some new, what did I just say, pulls? Instead of going out and buying new lamps, can you maybe spray paint the ones that you have? It's just, think smaller. You know, I'm seeing, just the destruction that is going on. And with the bureaucracy that we've got in politics right now, politicians are not going to change it. Politicians are not going to allow people to have cob houses in residential neighborhoods. They're not going to allow composting toilets and septic systems in town. It's just not, it's not going to happen. So our options as citizens are limited. And I say citizens, not consumers, because I am not a consumer. I am a citizen. And I would also like you guys to rethink thrift store and garage sale shopping. So if you are on a really low income, I understand that thrift stores and garage sales might be the only things that you're able to afford. But I don't go to them anymore. And the reason I don't go to them anymore is because I learned just not even that long ago, 4 or 5 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago, that I was using them as an excuse to go shopping. Because in the Dollar Trees too, like it's only $1. You know, I can get a pair of pants, 2 pairs of pants for $5. It's only $5. But I didn't need those things. I just went in there to see what they had. I'm just going to go in to see what they have. And then I walked out $30 later of stuff that I didn't need and ended up not wanting and ended up discarding anyway because they fit, but they weren't comfortable. So now I've changed my procedure when it comes to clothing. Most people wear 20%. They wear 20% of their stuff 80% of the time, I think. I think that's how the saying goes. So I would say get rid of that 80% and don't replace it. Just don't replace it once it's gone. That's what I did. I have 2 pairs of jeans and I am perfectly, I don't want any more jeans. I don't want them. If somebody brought me a pair of jeans from the thrift store, I'd be like, no, thank you. Please take them back. I don't want them. I very specifically find one pair of pants that I like, and I will stick to that, and I found my pair. And when it comes time to replace them, I'm going to have to find them again. Because I'm not going to go to a thrift store and spend $30 when I can buy one pair for $20 and instead of buying 10 pairs for $30. Anyway, all right, folks. So I know that I went on a little bit of a rant, but the truth of the matter is that all that stuff that you accumulate is going to end up in a landfill anyway when you pass away. And if you're holding on to things to give to your children, give it to them now. Save them the hassle and find out if they even want it. They might not even want it. And if they don't want it, and if you think it's worth money, I would implore you to go and sell it or try and sell it. My guess is that it's not worth even a quarter of what you think it is. All right, folks, that's what I've got for you today. Do what you can with what you've got. Prepper Princess out.
You two, trying to both fit on my lap at the same time. You guys are crazy. You're crazy. But it works. You both fit on Mommy's lap. Oh, attack. Oh, kiss attack. Help me. Oh my gosh. Okay. Good morning to you too. Good morning. Hi.